The pharaohs of ancient Egypt were not just rulers. They were divine bridges between heaven and earth. Every gesture they made carried sacred weight. Every word echoed through eternity. People believed the gods breathed through them. Ra's light crowned them each morning. Osiris judged them beyond death, and Isis wrapped them in eternal protection. To serve as pharaoh was not a privilege. It was a burden of divine expectation. They woke to prayers whispered by priests. Incense burned through golden corridors. The scent of myrrh filled the air like prophecy. Their crowns were more than symbols. They were promises to the gods. The crook and flail were not decorations. They were instruments of balance and control. Every temple wall carried their name. Every statue reflected their eternal duty. They ruled with both power and fear, because to displease a god meant chaos, and chaos was the enemy of creation. At sunrise, they offered gifts to Ra. At dusk, they prayed for safe passage in the underworld. The priests watched every movement carefully. They spoke in hymns older than memory. The gods demanded harmony, and the pharaohs became its living embodiment. When the Nile flooded, it was a blessing. When it failed, it was a warning. Every event was a divine message. Every victory, a sign of favor. Every defeat, a whisper of disapproval. The line between man and God blurred. Some pharaohs believed they were gods themselves. Others feared their judgment more than death. In their tombs, the connection deepened. Walls painted with rituals of ascension. Golden masks shaped to mirror the divine. Every color chosen with spiritual precision. Blue for the heavens, gold for eternity, black for rebirth. When they died, their hearts were weighed, their souls tested by Osiris. Anubis stood near, silent and unyielding. And if they were pure, they became stars, shining forever beside the gods they once served. Imagine the silence of a sacred chamber, a pharaoh lying in golden stillness, surrounded by prayers carved into stone. Even in death, the dialogue continued, for the gods never left them, and the pharaohs never stopped listening. That was the secret of their reign. Power through faith, eternity through devotion, and fascination through the mystery that still endures. Their temples rose like mountains of devotion. The air shimmered with chants that never ended. Each word was a bridge between human fear and divine mercy. The pharaoh stood at the center, half man, half promise. When the sun touched his crown, the people saw eternity. When he spoke, the gods seemed to answer. The river mirrored his power, flowing endlessly, giving life, taking life. He was the balance between chaos and order, between the fire of Ra and the silence of the stars. The gods demanded faith, and he gave them obedience carved in stone. Every conquest was a ritual, every triumph a hymn written in blood and gold. The priests whispered his name as if it could awaken creation. They believed his breath could bless or destroy. Under torchlight, his shadow stretched across sacred walls. The gods watched through painted eyes, unblinking, eternal. Anubis guarded his sleep. Thoth recorded his fate. Isis whispered forgiveness into the wind. And Ra from the heavens judged his light. The pharaoh's heart was not his own. It belonged to the divine. Each heartbeat echoed like a drum of destiny. Even death could not silence it. For death to the pharaoh was not an end. It was a return, a merging with the gods he once served. A transformation from mortal ruler to celestial being. And so the legend endured. Through centuries of sand and silence, through broken temples and forgotten prayers, their story still glows beneath the desert sun. A promise that the divine once walked among men. A memory that refuses to fade, because in every pharaoh, the gods still live.